It was Christmas Eve in Winterdale. Families laughed, streets sparkled. And then, the city went completely dark. Not a blackout, not an accident. Someone had taken control of the entire power grid. Every light, every signal, every heartbeat of the city, under the command of a ghost. No one knew who he was, until the shocking truth came out. The Christmas hacker isn't a myth. He's real, and he's closer than you think. On Christmas Eve, Winterdale looked like something taken straight out of a holiday postcard. Every street was lined with glowing lights, every shop window was wrapped in ribbons, and every tree shimmered with color. Fresh snow had fallen over the rooftops like a soft blanket. Children ran through the streets holding hot chocolate cups, families carried gift bags, and that familiar warmth, the one people wait for all year, filled the air. But while the world celebrated, someone else was waiting. Someone who had been planning for years. Someone whose shadow would soon stretch across the entire city. At 11:57 p.m., most people were indoors, gathered around fireplaces, waiting for midnight. But inside the city's main power control center, the engineers noticed something unusual: tiny fluctuations across grid sector 4. Nothing major, just brief dips, only a fraction of a second long. They assumed it was the cold weather. Winter storms often stressed the system. But the fluctuations grew, quietly, steadily, intentionally. By 11:59 p.m., technician Will Andrews leaned closer to the screen and frowned. The grid wasn't just fluctuating. It was being scanned. Every transformer. Every backup fuse. Every connected device. The system was being mapped out, by someone who shouldn't have access. Before Will could run a diagnostic test, the screen froze. Not just one screen, all of them. Dozens of monitors, locked at once. Then, something even stranger happened. All monitors flashed white. Then black. Then a message appeared. Just 2 words. Merry Glitchmas. Will felt the hairs rise on his neck. This wasn't a glitch. This was a breach. He reached for the emergency phone, but before he could dial, the room plunged into darkness. And so did the entire city. For a moment, Winterdale was silent. Silent in a way no modern city had been in decades. No hum from streetlights, no mechanical buzz of electric signs, no distant sound of traffic signals changing colors. Just silence, and dark. Car alarms began to trip one by one. People stepped onto their balconies, confused. Children screamed as Christmas trees fizzled out. Elevators stalled with people inside. Traffic lights died, causing immediate collisions. Within minutes, Winterdale's cheerful holiday spirit turned into panic. Emergency services flooded with calls, but their lines were overloaded. Backup generators and hospitals kicked in, but engineers quickly realized something terrifying. The grid wasn't just down. Someone had locked them out from the inside. The city's entire power system was under remote control. And whoever took control was still inside. The mayor was called immediately. In the emergency meeting room, shaken engineers explained what they saw. A cyber attack. A highly sophisticated one. But here was the strangest part. There were no intrusions detected. No foreign IP addresses. No brute force attempts. It was as if the hacker had simply walked through a door only insiders knew existed. The mayor whispered the word no one else wanted to say. An inside job? But one engineer shook his head. No. Someone left a back door open. But years ago. And someone finally used it. That was the birth of the name the media would soon latch onto. The Christmas Ghost. An invisible hacker, no footprints, no digital trails. Every expert who examined system logs said the same thing. It's impossible. No one could do this and leave no trace. And yet, someone had. Hours passed. Midnight turned to 1 a.m., then 2, then 3. Winterdale remained dark. Police officers were stationed manually at every intersection, waving freezing drivers along. People were lining up at gas stations for batteries. Grocery stores shut down. ATM machines failed. Hospitals ran low on fuel for their generators. Every hour without electricity cost the city nearly $1 million. But what struck investigators the most was the hackers' silence. No demands. No messages. No ransom. No manifesto. Just control. Pure, complete, terrifying control. It was around 3 a.m. when cybersecurity analyst Leah Turner discovered something unusual in the system's deep logs. A tiny piece of code, buried under layers of archived updates. A code that shouldn't exist. It was a remote access implant written 6 years ago. She pulled old employment records. Only one engineer from that time ever had access to that system. His name, Ethan Cole. A brilliant engineer. A quiet man. A family man, once. But 6 years ago, during a brutal winter storm, a transformer overloaded and exploded while Ethan was on shift. The city blamed him for negligence. He lost his job. His reputation. His income. His wife left him 2 months later. And then he vanished. No one ever saw him again. Leah stared at his photograph. Something about his eyes felt hollow. Intelligent. But empty. She kept digging. Ethan had left behind no forwarding address. No job applications. No medical records. No bank activity. It was as if he deleted himself from the real world and stepped into another. A digital world. The kind only he understood. Meanwhile, strange things started happening across the city. Traffic cameras flickered, then displayed glitchy Christmas trees. Billboards shut off, then turned back on with cryptic codes. Radio stations played static, then brief messages. Tick, tock. News channels captured the fear spreading across Winterdale. People began turning on each other. Rumors spread. A foreign attack. An AI takeover. A cult. A ghost. And the name stuck. The Christmas Ghost. But the truth was much darker. Because around 4 a.m., Ethan made his first mistake. A single packet of data, a microsecond pulse, traveled through an unsecured Wi-Fi router in a rundown apartment on Oak Street. Investigators rushed there with SWAT. The apartment was empty. But inside, one dusty computer sat on a small wooden table. Running scripts. Automated ones. It was a decoy. But next to the computer lay something. All about Ethan. All about the accident. All about the night his life ended. And a handwritten note. You can't fix what you destroyed. But you can make them feel it. Leah realized something that sent chills through her spine. This wasn't a political act. Not a ransom attack. Not terrorism. This was revenge. A deeply personal revenge. Planned for years. Executed on the very night Ethan lost everything, Christmas Eve. Investigators traced the signal further across abandoned servers, across old legacy networks, across forgotten wiring tunnels no one had used in decades. All the trails led to the same place. An abandoned power substation at the edge of Winterdale. 6:12 a.m. Dawn was creeping into the sky, but the city was still pitch black. SWAT surrounded the facility. Leah joined them with portable monitors showing the hackers' control signals, strong, active, originating from inside the building. The commander whispered, "He's still here." They broke inside. The first room was empty. The second was dusty. The third. There he was. Ethan Cole. Not a ghost. Not a shadow. Not a myth. A real man. Sitting calmly at a makeshift command center of scavenged monitors, blinking servers, tangled wires. The light from the screens turned his face pale blue. His expression was calm. Too calm. He didn't look like a monster. He looked tired. Very tired. His hands moved across the keyboard with the ease of someone who knew every inch of the system. Every vulnerability. Every weak point. On the center monitor, the entire city grid was displayed like a heartbeat monitor. Ethan looked at the officers as if he had been expecting them. "I knew you'd come," he said quietly. Leah stepped forward. "Ethan, why are you doing this?" His eyes didn't meet hers. "They took everything from me, on Christmas. And now, they understand what it feels like." He typed a command. And suddenly, the grid began overheating. Transformers across the city buzzed dangerously. Engineers watching remotely screamed into radios. "He's going to burn the grid. If it overloads, we'll lose power for months." Leah lunged toward the emergency cutoff terminal in the substation. She smashed the override key and cut all command links. The screens flickered. The city grid stabilized. And one by one, lights across Winterdale flickered back to life. Street by street. Block by block. Home by home. People cheered. Some cried. Others prayed. Christmas lights began glowing again, though faintly. Ethan didn't move. He didn't run. He didn't fight. He simply raised his hands as officers approached him. As they handcuffed him, he whispered, "They'll forget. Give it a year. Maybe 2. People always do." But Leah would never forget the look in his eyes. A man who lost everything. And turned himself into a ghost of vengeance. Winterdale recovered. The power grid was rebuilt. Security was tightened. But every Christmas Eve, someone in the city retells the story of that night. The night Winterdale met a ghost. Not a myth. Not a legend. Not a hacker living in some far-off place. But a man they pushed too far. A man who walked into the digital world and used it to strike back. A man who proved one terrifying truth. Sometimes ghosts aren't dead. They're just people we choose not to see. If you love stories about today's most shocking cybercrimes, subscribe now and turn on notifications so you will get every dark story delivered straight to you.